Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve Ramona and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so fired up to have you join us today. We dedicate this podcast to exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose. Of course, that purpose is a servant's heart. And what impact and difference will you make in people's lives? I get to do it every day. And tell you, audience, it is powerful. And to walk away and you've given somebody, and it could be very little, or it could be $1 million. It doesn't matter. It's that gift of serving somebody is so powerful. We also dedicate this podcast that our guests motivate you, inspire you, and educate you. By the way, my guest is across the pond. He's going to do all that over and over again. So take your notepad out and take some notes. Also, here's your call to action today, audience. Think about how you're going to serve yourself and serve others today, and what impact you create with that service today. Don't start next week. Don't start next month. Don't put my goal. Start today. And it could be as little as calling your best friend and saying, I'm thinking about you. Because we don't know what people's shoes they're in, what's going on in their life. Sometimes a phone call for 5 minutes can make a change. So with that being said, I want to thank my sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Join a community of high-income entrepreneurs and business leaders to create a world-changing thought leader platform to grow your business. For more information, just reach out and I'll get you all the information on Pantheon. Well, impact and change, AI's here, business people are here. This guest has done it all 10 times, and he's only 22 years old. It's amazing what a young guy can do. I'm kidding. He's a little bit older than that, but I really want you to take notes because he's done a lot, and my dad always taught me don't recreate the wheel. If my guest has done this stuff, I've got notes already. We even started the show. Take those notes, and you know what? He's giving away for free. So with that being said, Adam, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Steve. Always happy to be here, my friend.
And you're in, what country are you in?
In the UK.
That's right. He's in the UK, across the pond. And he really is strong. So being called Adam Strong, it's well worth it. I got to ask you. Go ahead.
I want to tell you the backstory on that one. Trust me. It's a cracker. It really is funny.
We'll do a part 2 on just the backstory of Adam. But we'll talk about motivate, inspire, and educate right now. Through your bio and learning about you, Sir Mo Farah. I don't know who that is, but you had a lot of training that shaped you. Talk about, is it a male or female, and what they did for you?
Sure. Well, Sir Mo, for you guys that follow the Olympics and follow athletics, Sir Mo is the current Olympic and world champion in 5 and 10,000 meters. So he trained at the Nike Academy in Portland, Oregon. So the creme de la creme, basically, in a nutshell. So he was my training partner when I was younger. So we trained for quite a significant number of years. And so the backstory is, Steve, is that he's originally from Somalia. So broken country, running away from war and famine, effectively. And then there's me, of course. We're basically just started high school. We go to two different high schools, right? I'd lost my hair through alopecia age 10 through large amounts of stress and worry. So alopecia, obviously, most people know what that is. But back 30 years ago, it wasn't such a familiar, you know what I mean, like a familiar medical term, if you want to call it that. And a lot of people would a lot of kids will think that I've got cancer or leukemia or something like that. But they also, through my hair loss, and it has a massive knock-on effect to self-confidence. It also has a massive knock-on effect to how you build relationships and how you feel like, you kind of get that kind of judgmental mindset going through your mind, thinking, what is the other other person to think about me, right? So that's what's going through your mind consistently. And so the I suppose the core relationship between me and Samo is that Samo he didn't speak any word of English when he came to the UK. So he went to go and live with his aunt and his cousin at the time. He also went through bullying and low confidence and stuff like that. So we went through, I suppose, very similar childhood trauma, if you want to call it that. But we used athletics more than anything else to create a platform to be able to build self-confidence, to be able to build resilience, to be able to really kind of, I suppose, learn about all the different entrepreneurial skills that we're taught, right? Whatever the school of entrepreneurship looks like these days, of course. I was taught that very early on at the age of 10, 11 years old, actually. So I started up my first business aged 11 as well, and learned 5 core skills, Steve, as part of that. So the first core skill that I learned was number 1, and this goes back to also my athletics as well. So they very much cross over nicely. Number 1 is resilience, because obviously when you go through adversity, and many of your listeners as well, you'll be riding the roller coaster of the ups and downs of riding the entrepreneurial life, and sure, like yourself, right? You've been there, done there, and got the t-shirt. Resilience has been 1. Number 2 is being able to walk away and say no, right? So if you're in a I suppose in a, I don't know, a scenario where you're negotiating sales, or you're negotiating a deal with someone, or maybe you're dealing with a spouse, or maybe you're dealing with someone within your team, right? And there are core values that you will have, right? And regardless, if you're a good leader, you'll stick to your core values, right? And you won't compromise those core values, right? So if you're in a scenario like, for example, I'll give you a really good example here. When I was selling golf balls, which was my first business at the age of 11, right? I knew the value of that golf ball. I knew the bottom line, right? I also knew when to walk away, because I knew that they were getting an absolute steal. I also knew that I was getting a fair play, but I also wouldn't want to be taken advantage of just because I was a young boy, right? So that's the second real big lesson, which is the power to say no, or the power to walk away and say no, right? That's number 2. Number 3, the power of negotiation, right? Sales, negotiation. If you're sitting down, if you're a coach, consultant, if you are in accounting, doesn't really matter. Business is all about having fun, and it's all about playing a game, right? Okay. So if you're taking on a new client, renewing a new client, or whatever it is, okay, negotiation is absolutely paramount. Get good at it. That's all I'm going to say, is get good at it. And if you don't know how to get good at it, study people that are good at negotiating, okay? Because you can learn so much from negotiation, okay? So that's number 3. Number 4, power of branding. So I talked to you a little bit about starting up my first business. I didn't know anything about golf, by the way. When I first started my first business, I knew nothing about golf. Zero about golf. I had to learn quickly. All right. So one of the things that I found out very quickly was that were the brands. So Slazenger, Nike, Dunlop, they're all premium brands. They're what golfers had valued. Not only do they value condition, they value brand. So we're all taught as entrepreneurs the importance of branding, right? Yes, you've got company branding, but you've also got personal branding. What is personal branding? If you have personal branding, you have authority and credibility, but you also have trust. That's what you have. You have the ultimate game of trust. Okay. So that's number 4. And number 5, more importantly, is one of the things that I learned extremely quickly was the power of strategy. So everyone, regardless of where your background is and what you do, everyone is a problem solver. If you are not in the game of problem solving or solving people's problems, you need to take a long, hard look at your profession and how you do things. But strategy, tactics, and how you go about doing it, it's an art. That's what it is. It takes years, absolutely years, to fine tune strategy. If I go back to running, Steve, Okay. There's a certain tactic, there's a certain strategy to be able to win races and championships, right?
Mhm.
Same with starting up your first business. If you don't get the strategy right, guess what? You have to go back to the drawing board and redo again. If you don't get your offer right, guess what? Go back to the strategy board and start again. So strategy is a continuous learning curve for everybody. So if I was to say, those are the 5 core skills that I learned from a very young age.
Yeah. And it's interesting, at 11 years old, you'll learn what people 30, 40, 50 still aren't learning. Nothing to
Absolutely.
people out there, but people are still trying to figure that out. You learned early. Well, you just led to my next question is you talk about strategic, being strategic, is your free tool. You've developed an AI tool for business plan for strategy. Talk about that tool.
Absolutely. So over the last 30 years, I've been running my own business, but I've also been helping hundreds of other experienced business owners that are either want to grow, scale, or exit from operations, right? So that's kind of like my secret superpower, if you want to call it that, right? So over the last 30 years, I know I would probably say that I am an expert failure more than anything else. I probably have explored more failures and experienced more failures, but I've also found a lot of things that don't work. All right, with regards to business. Now, some people may see that as a kind of a negative. I don't. I see that as a positive because it just means that I've just found things that don't work. Doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't work. It just means that I have found a way that doesn't work, right? So I decided I've been trying to figure this stuff out for years, Steve, like in terms of scaling and exiting. For the last 7 years, I lived out the UK. So I lived in Scandinavia and I just got back from Cyprus in the Mediterranean for a year as well. So I've been living out of the UK. And the way that I set my business up is I effectively set it up where effectively I don't let the business run me, I run the business. Okay. And there's a real big difference there, right? You can either be a slave to your business or you can, set the business up based on your terms. Now, my goal when I set my business up was freedom. That's my goal. My goal is to be free. Okay. Financially free, travel free, time freedom, like whatever freedom means to you. Freedom means different things to different people. But for me, I love to travel. I love to spend time with kids. I value family, etc., right? So over the last 30 years, I've been going crazy, Steve, trying to work this stuff out. And now I've managed to basically get it down to a T. I've created a new AI tool using a custom GBT. I've spent hours basically programming this GBT where it effectively tailors a a what I call an exit strategy blueprint for experienced business owners that want to scale and exit. So, shocking stat here, Steve, that actually less than 18% of all business owners, okay, exit from their business. Less than 18%.
Wow.
Yeah. That is a shocking stat, right? So the purpose of then the questioning goes back to yourself when you ask yourself, well, okay, well, what's the real reason why I started my business in the first place, right?
Mhm.
Fundamental flaw number one is that a lot of people use their business as a job, right? But actually, a business is an asset. Okay. A lot of people, when they get to their 50s and their 60s, and I don't know if you know of an accountant or a lawyer or a CPA or whatever it might be, right? They've been in business for like donkey's years. They love to help people. They have this undeniable trait of wanting to help people. And I love that about them. Yeah. They have qualifications, master's degrees. They are the creme de la creme in their industry. They are the beasts. What they lack is business acumen. They don't
Yeah.
see their business as an asset. And so I wanted to change those fortunes for that 18% and increase the percentage quite significantly. But every business, as you know, Steve, has different problems, challenges, pain points, growing pains, whatever it is, right? Each business is different. So therefore, you have to create a tailored strategy based on the information that you give it. This
Mhm.
is the reason why I created custom GBT, which creates an exit business strategy blueprint in less than 15 minutes.
Wow. That's powerful. And where can they, and it's free, audience. He's giving it away free, not just for the audience, but for everybody. Where can they find that?
Absolutely. Well, what we'll do is we've actually created a wait list because we're just fine tuning it right now. So we're actually we're making it available to around 10 to 15 people that would like to give it some a bit of a test drive effectively in exchange for some feedback and early access, of course, before we take it out onto the open market. Using the feedback, obviously, we can then fine tune the custom GBT, make it better, streamline it a little bit better for more industries, but it helps me to help you effectively. So I hope that kind of answers, but I'll be able to give you the waitlist link toward the end.
Yeah, we'll get the waitlist link and I'll put it in the show notes as well. And you know what? You're taking service to another level. You're serving people who serve people. You have this chain link, which is very, very powerful. What, because you work with businesses, what is a core challenge that every business owner that you've seen over the last 10, 20, 30 years that they have?
I think it's a really good question. As I said, like each has a mixture of different challenges, pain points, bottlenecks, and whatever it is. But I feel like most of the people that I tend to work with spend most of their time staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out how can they escape from their business. Literally, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure it out. And the problem is that Google's not giving them the answers because Google is not a business. It's not a business analyst. It's not a strategist, right? Again, ChatGPT it's a computer. It doesn't know how to run a business. Yeah, it can give great advice, but ultimately, people are looking for ways so they can escape their business, right? So they can live it. So there are two different types of businesses, Steve. You've got a lifestyle business, and there's no problems with running a lifestyle business. You can quite easily make it into a seven-figure business, or you can create a performance-based business where effectively, it's a little bit like an onion, where effectively with a performance-based business, you start to then build upon something, strip it back, and then build again, strip it back, and then build again. Whereas a lifestyle business is basically to improve your lifestyle, right? You can create a business where effectively, like myself, you can go off to Hawaii with a pina colada and let it run automatically. That's what a business is. It
Yep.
relies less on the owner and the founder. That's what a true business is. But
Yep.
a lot of people get it wrong. A lot of people get it wrong. And more than anything, and we talked about this before the show started, right? It's not about the strategy. The strategy is a very small part, very, very small. It's actually the mindset more than anything else.
Yeah.
Mindset plays such a crucial role. I mean, if you look at the interviews of like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs back in the day and things like that, right? It isn't about what they say; it's about how they think. They're on a completely different level to average entrepreneurs. And when you're working in the trenches, I think one of the most crucial skills that you can develop as an entrepreneur is self-awareness.
Mhm.
Because if you're aware about not only your strengths and weaknesses, you're aware of how you can fix things quickly and more efficiently. I see people get stuck for years. Years they get stuck for, right? They go around chasing their own tail, trying to reinvent the wheel or looking for shortcuts. Or
Yeah.
they get attracted by shiny penny syndrome because the next fads come out, or the next AI tools come out, or whatever it might be, and then they get attracted to that. Oh, shiny penny! Oh, shiny penny! That's what they do. They go around chasing their own tail. It's madness, complete madness,
Yeah.
and it's a fad, right? And the problem is that there is no shortcuts, ladies and gentlemen. There's no such thing as secrets, right? So you get these marketing gurus that saying, "Oh, the secrets to this and the secrets to that." There is no secret. There's no secret. The best advice that I have for people that are looking for anything that you wish to desire. Yes, Google can give you the answer, but really seek someone that's actually been there, done that, and got the t-shirt, right? If you're trying to exit your business, find someone that's already exited the business before and find out what exactly you're about to embark upon your journey. It's not rocket science. Business isn't rocket
No.
science. We make it sound so complicated, but actually, in essence, Steve, it's actually quite simple. We make it more complex more than anything else. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your head makes it more complex, and we all deal with it. But you're right. The Buffetts, the Musks, the Cubans, they'll tell you exactly what you said. It's they got to be self-aware. And Mark Cuban sold that company for $1 billion because he knew he could sell it for $1 billion. He didn't just magically come up, and it's such a great point. We're coming to the end here, but I want to talk about your podcast and your book, and you have a free quiz as well. So let's kind of pack that all up.
Sure. Running the podcast for almost 4.5 years now. For you guys that want to come and jam and have some more personal development, it's basically a podcast where I've interviewed some of the biggest industry titans in the world of leadership, marketing, personal branding, and scaling a business. So we've had people like Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, #1 executive coach in the world. We've had Bob Berg. We've had Jack Canfield. I mean, all of the big names. And these people aren't just people that have come onto the podcast to share their story. They're all personal friends of mine. I've got them here on my WhatsApp. So that's the power of relationships, I think, Steve, more than anything else. So the podcast is called The Business Strategist. It's in the top 1.5% global rankings. Hey, guys, if you want to listen, it's welcome. It's free, available. Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. Knock yourself out. So that's that really. Book, you mentioned book. I released my new book about 3 years ago called Play the Game. The purpose behind it, Steve, actually was I was fascinated during the pandemic I was asking the question was everyone was going around like headless chickens, okay? And you probably would have remembered that from only 3 years ago. And I thought to myself, do you know what? How is it that some businesses are able to thrive in a down market? And I started to get obsessed with this. I started to get obsessed with this question. So I seeked out those businesses that thrived in a down market, and I wanted to learn from them. And so what we did is I interviewed 17 other businesses from different industries, from retail through to online businesses, accounting practices, whatever it might be, okay? And I learned about strategy, and I packed it into a book, all right? So that is Play the Game effectively. It was endorsed by my good friend Marshall Goldsmith, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really big endorsement as well. And as you mentioned, we've also got a free quiz. So for those experienced business owners that are kind of thinking to yourself, oh, I've been in this business for a long time. You have the aspirations that want more impact, have more influence, maybe getting into philanthropy. What you may have other goals in life, right? But you feel tied down because of your business. We've created a new tool called the Business Growth Quiz, Steve, which effectively assesses 5 different areas of a business and gives you a score at the end, and it gives you a personalized, customized report at the end of it. So it's called How to Grow a Business .scoreup.com. I'll give you the link anyway at the end.
The chat, no, the notes, yeah.
Yeah, so you can check it out. It's completely for free. But what I love about it is the free report at the end, because again, you just don't know what you just don't know at the end of the day. If you're able to get a customized, tailor-made report specifically on your business about how you can improve on it going into 25 and beyond, I'm not sure about you, but if that isn't value, I don't know what is. But
game changer, absolute game changer.
There you go.
It can be done anytime, but we happen to be at the end of the year. If you're listening to this in June next year, same thing. It's still good, but right now, yeah, you're absolutely right. God, you're such a blessing. I love your attitude. And audience, I counted 4 times he said free, and he's very successful. So again, as I say, a servant's heart gives everything away free. Money will come. build those relationships, bring value by giving it to free. Adam's a walking. I mean, look at the names he mentioned that are friends of his in his phone. He didn't do that by going, "Hey, Jack Canfield, I want to be your friend. Let me put you in my phone." He built a relationship. He did not do that. So that's a great lesson. So people listening are going, "Adam, I need to reach out to you, find you." How can they do that?
LinkedIn's the best place that people can connect with me. Just feel free to add a note or whatever it is. I get so many requests, Steve. So that's where I play. That's where I like to play. That's kind of my playground. LinkedIn is probably the best place. Or head over to adamstrong.net and, go have some fun with my AI assistant.
There you go. Adamstrong.net. I'm going there right after the show because there's so much here, guys. I mean, you get it. Here's the call to action at the end, podcasting. And I think Adam's going to agree with me. We think, hey, podcasting sponsors, all that. Here's the call to action. The podcast is a gift. And what do I mean? You just listen to Adam and you're like, AI, business, strategy, all these things that you could take this podcast and grow a business. How far it's different, but there's a lot of tools here he just gave you information. Say you're at a Christmas party because we're near Christmas and you're talking to your friend. He's like, "God, my business is struggling." Oh, wait a minute. I just listened to Adam Strong. As you subscribe, you can access the link very easily. That's a gift. And here's the journey. You give that gift to your friend listens, reaches out to Adam, hires him, or goes on his site, uses the AI tool, and his business grows.
Absolutely.
What a wonderful gift. Go ahead.
You know what, Steve? I was just going to say, to wrap that up, Jim Rohn says, the more that you help others achieve what they want to achieve, the more that you achieve tenfold. And it's true.
That's where we're going to end the show because it couldn't have ended any better. Me and Adam, thank you so much for watching or listening to our podcast. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.